Hi everyone, my name is Mimi Wu and I'm a nutritionist in child nutrition programs here at USDA's Food and Nutrition Service. I'm so happy to be here with you all today, as well as my colleague Lissa Ang from USDA FNS's Western Regional Office, as well as Teresa Fogolini, who is the director of the award-winning Farm to ECE program called the Garden of Eden at North Bay Children's Center in California. We're delighted to have you with all of us today for our webinar on celebrating National Farm to School Month in Early Care and Education Settings, Farm to CACFP. Lissa will kick off today's webinar by giving an overview of what Farm to CACFP means, talking about some of the benefits of implementing Farm to CACFP, and taking us through ways that CACFP sites can implement Farm to CACFP activities, big and small. Then, Teresa will take us through all the valuable and wonderful Farm to CACFP work done through North Bay Children's Center's Garden of Eden program that allows young children to gain skills for healthy living and learning through hands-on gardening and food and nutrition education efforts. Finally, you will hear my voice again as I do a brief overview of the free gardening-based resources that CACFP sites can use in their kitchens, classrooms, and beyond to encourage and support a culture of healthy living and eating. This webinar will be recorded and made available at a later date on the USDA Team Nutrition and USDA Farm to School websites. We will have time at the end of this webinar to take questions. You can use the chat box at any time during the webinar to enter your questions, and we will try to answer as many as we can at the end of the webinar. Also, if you can still not hear us through your computer speakers, you can call in by telephone too. Please dial 866-740-1260. When prompted, enter the access code 605-4013. This phone number will be displayed at the bottom right of each slide throughout this presentation, so if you happen to lose audio via your computer at any point, you can call this number and you should be able to hear us over your phone. So with that, I will turn this presentation over to Lissa.
Thanks, Mimi. Hi, everyone. My name is Lissa Ong, and I am a nutritionist with the Western Regional Office of USDA's Food and Nutrition Service. So on behalf of the Office of Community Food Systems in Child Nutrition Programs, I'm thrilled to be here today to take you all through some of the hows and whys of Farm to CACFP. So let's begin. As Mimi just stated during the intro, today's webinar participants will learn what is Farm to CACFP, learn the benefits of implementing Farm to CACFP in their child care or preschool setting, hear about a Farm to CACFP program, and learn how to access Farm to CACFP and team nutrition resources. So before we go too deeply into what Farm to CACFP is, we'd love to know more about you. On this slide, you'll see some sentences that give you options of how familiar you are with Farm to CACFP. First would be, I do not know much about Farm to CACFP. I have heard about Farm to CACFP before and am interested in doing Farm to CACFP activities at my site. Farm to CACFP activities can include gardening, buying from local farmers, farms and producers, or gardening activities with the children in your classroom. Thirdly, I am currently doing Farm to CACFP activities at my site, or I am currently doing Farm to CACFP activities at my site and I want to do even more. I'm going to move to the next slide so you can select the answer that applies to you. So, okay, now you can go ahead and click on the answer that applies to you. We'll give you a minute or two to do so. All right, well, thanks everyone. I see our audience has a broad range of experience from farm to CACFP. Thank you all for joining us, and we hope that this webinar will be a source of some good ideas and food for thought regarding farm to CACFP, no matter what your level of expertise. So what is farm to CACFP? Farm to CACFP encompasses efforts to serve locally produced foods in early child care and education settings, provides hands-on learning activities such as gardening, farm visits, and culinary activities, and it integrates food education into the curriculum. Why Farm to CACFP? The Richard B. Russell National School Lunch Act was amended to create the USDA Farm to School program to operate the Farm to School grant program, conduct research, and provide training and technical assistance to increase local foods in child nutrition programs, including the Child and Adult Care Food Program, affectionately what we know as CACFP. Local foods can play an important role in creating and promoting a healthy environment. Other positive impacts include increased participation and engagement in meal programs, consumption of healthier options, and support of your local economies. The authorizing statute also required USDA to update the CACFP meal pattern to align with the latest dietary guidelines for Americans. And as many of you know, these updates were announced in April of 2016 and implemented in October of 2017. Beyond the meal pattern and serving nutritious food, the statute expanded the purpose of CACFP to encourage child care providers to promote health and wellness in child care through physical activity and limited use of electronic media. While physical activity and electronic media are not requirements of the CACFP, meaning they aren't monitored at the national level, they are considered best practice and are encouraged. Early childhood is the ideal time to establish healthy eating habits. Farm to CACFP works to connect early child care and education settings to local food producers with the objectives of serving locally grown, healthy foods to young children, providing related nutrition education, and improving child nutrition. So Farm to CACFP activities can increase children's willingness to try new foods and help them become familiar with local foods that they will see in the schools. Farm to CACFP also creates a reliable outlet for producers and the smaller purchasing volumes for early child care settings, so they are also a good fit for local farmers. Farm to CACFP strategies support provisions of the authorizing statute and align nicely with the expanded purpose of CACFP to include a more holistic approach around wellness and healthy development. It remains a USDA priority to expand the USDA Farm to School model to ECE settings, including preschools, child care centers, and homes, and other sites participating in the CACFP. As I mentioned earlier, the updated CACFP meal patterns went into effect October 1 of 2017. These standards are meant to enhance the quality of meals served in CACFP to help young children learn healthy eating habits early on in their lives and improve overall wellness to include a greater variety of vegetables and fruit, more whole grains, and less added sugar and saturated fat. In addition, the standards encouraged breastfeeding and better align the CACFP with WIC and other child nutrition programs. The CACFP nutrition standards include language around local foods as a best practice. USDA encourages centers and daycare homes to incorporate these seasonal and local products into meals when possible as a way of enhancing CACFP operations. So often when we talk about local foods, we think fruit and veggies, but local foods can span the entire plate. When incorporating local foods into menus, we can also think about dairy, grains, and proteins in addition to produce. And in the CACFP, it's up to each individual institution to define what local means for them. There are many ways to define local. Local can be within a certain distance in miles, or it can mean within a county, a state, neighboring state, or a region. Sponsors can modify that definition of local depending on the season, product, or for special events. CACFP operators can use CACFP reimbursement to purchase local foods and provide educational activities. CACFP operators often need less food than a school or a school district might, and this may make CACFP sites a good fit for the smaller amount of food that a small farmer produces. In addition, CACFP sites may have less standardized requirements that could also be a good fit for small farmers who may only sell through farmers markets and community-supported agricultures, or CSA. There are lots of models to make local food sourcing in CACFP work, from receiving CSA boxes, partnering with local groceries, growing your own, or purchasing through a distributor. If you're looking for a farmer's market in your community, USDA's Agricultural Marketing Service offers a national directory. Simply enter in your area code and desired distance, and the markets nearest you will be provided. You can use various tabs to see what products are available, the payment accepted, locations, contacts, and much more. Hand receipts are acceptable forms of documentation when an institution purchases from a farm stand, farmer's market, CSA, food hub, or directly from the farm, as long as they include date of purchase, name of vendor, farmer, the item cost, amount, and total cost. Just think of a purchase at a store. These are the details included on a store receipt, so it's logical that a handwritten receipt would include the same information. CACFP funds can be used to buy items for gardens, such as seeds, fertilizer, watering cans, and as long as the produce grown in the garden will be used as part of the reimbursable meal and for nutrition educational activities. So if the garden produce is used for reimbursable meals, the weight and the volume of the produce must be documented. So institutions, meaning sponsors and independent centers, can sell food grown in their CACFP garden that was funded using CACFP funds as long as the revenue goes back to the CACFP food service account. That money must be used solely for the operation of CACFP. CACFP funds can also be used to purchase produce from another organization that is maintaining and managing a garden to serve as part of a reimbursable CACFP meal, as long as you maintain documentation to support this purchase. That includes the date of purchase, the name of the organization, the item cost and amount, and total cost. Excess garden produce can be donated to another program operating a USDA child nutrition program, such as the Summer Food Service Program, the National School Lunch Program, or another CACFP. This is preferred, but if another program cannot benefit from it, it can be sold or donated in accordance with state and local health safety regulations. I've just shared a lot of policy information about local foods in a very short amount of time. So you may refer back to the CACFP Policy Memo 11-2015 as it outlines key elements to purchase local foods and allowable food education activities in the CACFP. USDA has a Farm to CACFP preschool page with links to FNS resources, such as the policy memo I just mentioned, and the Farm to School Grant Program, and nutrition, wellness, and garden-based resources for ECE settings. There are links also to partner resources. Also available on the website are a variety of fact sheets to help you integrate farm to preschool in your child's care setting. We have a special emphasis on procurement, including our procurement guide here, and a series of fact sheets that touch on procurement aspects. We would love to stay in touch with you through our Farm to Everything e-letter called The Dirt, which is inclusive of all of our farm to child nutrition work. So subscribe on our website so you can stay up to date on resources, webinars, and grant proposals. In summary, Farm to CACFP works to connect CACFP settings to local food producers with the objectives of serving locally grown, healthy foods to young children and providing food education opportunities. While individual Farm to CACFP programs are shaped by their unique community, geographic region, and scope, the term Farm to CACFP is generally understood to include efforts that connect ECE settings with local or regional farmers, food producers, and manufacturers in order to serve local or regionally procured foods in the CACFP. Bringing more locally sourced fresh fruits and vegetables into kitchens is a key activity of many Farm to CACFP efforts. Procuring locally sourced, minimally processed main meal items so that the entire meal is representative of regional options distinguishes healthy programs for prospective parents. So keep in mind that Farm to CACFP is inclusive of many types of producers, such as farmers, ranchers, and fishermen, as well as many types of food businesses, including food processors, manufacturers, and distributors. We know our programs are most effective when local procurement is paired with food, nutrition, and agriculture education, such as efforts that bring locally or regionally produced foods into CACFP meals, including hands-on learning activities, and promote the integration of food education into the classroom. To give you all more ideas of how this can be done, I will now turn this presentation over to Teresa Fogolini with the North Bay Children's Center to share about their Farm to CACFP program in action. As a reminder, we will answer questions for all our presenters at the very end, but please feel free to go ahead and type questions into the chat box now or at any time during this presentation.
Thank you so much, Lissa. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Teresa Fogolini. I'm so delighted today to present as part of the National Farm to School Month, featuring the incredible work being done in early child care and education settings across the nation. I'm honored today to present with an amazing team of people that are passionate about health, nutrition, children, and learning. I'm Director of North Bay Children's Center Farm to School Early Child Care and Education program called the Garden of Eden. My goal today is to share with everyone useful resources, program highlights, and beneficial practices by providing examples from lessons we have learned over the years. North Bay Children's Center is a regional nonprofit early child care and education organization celebrating 30 years of providing comprehensive, high-quality child care and early education programs fueled by our vision of excellence and spirit of innovation. We serve children ages 6 months to 10 years on 14 school sites in Marin and Sonoma counties in Northern California. North Bay Children's Center programs are located on public school sites that range from urban, suburban, and rural school environments. North Bay Children's Center's core mission is to assure optimal development for every child we serve through culturally rich programs that help us achieve our mission. 15 years ago, North Bay Children's Center created a signature Garden of Eden Farm to School program with the support of many community partners and a generous grant from Marin First 5 Children and Family Commission. Through our ongoing dynamic relationships with our dedicated partners, The Garden of Eden program has grown into an award-winning garden-based nutrition, health, and wellness program. It's an ECE model for childhood obesity prevention. The Garden of Eden program uses a garden framework to help children gain skills for healthy living and learning through innovative hands-on garden and nutrition education. Our team of garden nutrition educator trainers teach weekly lessons in classrooms. We work side by side with classroom teachers to help inspire, model, and coach garden nutrition and fitness lessons. The team teaches its signature Garden of Eden curricula and lessons based on current research and industry best practices to help weave a culture of health and wellness throughout the daily Garden of Eden and North Bay Children's Center experience. North Bay Children's Center is headquartered in Novato, California. It's home to our largest Garden of Eden program. It's our teaching garden and outdoor classroom where we serve approximately 150 children ages 6 months to 10 years. The Garden of Eden garden provides year-round fresh produce used in our classrooms and kitchen as part of an ongoing collaboration with the USDA and CACFP. The Garden of Eden teaching and tasting gardens are the foundation of our signature programs where children are a part of the complete garden-to-table cycle. Children learn how to garden, grow healthy fresh foods from seed, care and tend the gardens. They also help harvest produce and learn about garden and nutrition through food preparation. They absolutely love to eat the foods they grow. The garden is a place where children make an essential source connection to where their food comes from. This connection is the foundation that supports and shapes healthy attitudes and behaviors to food. Research indicates that healthy attitudes lead to healthy behaviors and ultimately healthy food choices. We are so fortunate to celebrate Farm to School in North Bay Children's Center gardens and classrooms every day. I would like to highlight recent partnerships that have helped NBCC continue to grow and strengthen its garden fresh food programs. In 2016, Sonoma County Department of Health Services led a multi-agency partnership Farm to Preschool grant funded by the USDA Farm to School targeting CACFP programs. The program's goals were to help increase access to fresh, healthy produce and enhance nutrition education in early childhood classrooms and education, and develop a procurement model for locally and regionally farm fresh produce. The year-long collaboration between USDA, CACFP, NBCC, Community Child Care Council, Community Alliance of Family Farmers, or CAF, and the Department of Health Services through Sonoma County allowed CAF to procure and deliver locally grown fresh farm produce to our preschool classrooms in the form of self-contained Harvest of the Month produce kits, which came complete with nutrition education and also included stories featuring the local farms and farmers. CAF worked feverishly to connect with local and regional farmers, building many important and successful partnerships. The team learned many valuable lessons and gained important insights for procurement and connecting children to fresh foods in early child care and education settings. We observed that children were more willing to taste fresh produce and subsequently eat foods similar to the produce introduced in the Harvest of the Month lessons. Teachers were more willing to teach food-based lessons using the Harvest of the Month kits in their classrooms because they were well organized and extremely convenient. Teacher participants said they also felt more confident delivering food lessons because of the skills and knowledge they acquired in the program. Teachers reported a benefit and awareness of their increased use using the information and resources available from the USDA Farm to Preschool, local food and learning in early child care and education settings. Creating a well-crafted procurement plan with local partnerships is essential when sourcing and buying fresh produce. Examples of this include using local and regional farmers, farmers markets, community markets, food pantries, and grocery stores. Additionally, we learned many food handling and storage best practices and the art of food distribution when purchasing for multiple school sites. Our innovative participation with CACFP continues as a focal point in our main NBCC Novato location, where fresh produce grown in our garden is used in our kitchen by Chef Maite to help prepare healthy CACFP meals and snacks. NBCC is reimbursed for the produce grown in our garden, prepared in our kitchen, and eaten by our children. The garden nutrition team works closely with our chef to collaborate on strategic yearly crop and menu planning that meet the USDA and CACFP local fresh food goals. Chef Maite uses CACFP web resources to help with menu planning, food preparation, and serving suggestions. She contributes her cooking success in part by the ongoing training and support she receives through CACFP programs. I'd like to share several examples of our school gardens to highlight how NBCC classrooms situated on uniquely different school sites are successful. The sites range from urban buildings with blacktop play areas to sprawling suburban and rural school sites with grassy fields and plenty of room to roam. We aspire to create year-round teaching and tasting gardens that are uniquely individualized to meet the specific needs and environments of each site. Because as we all know, there is definitely no one-size-fits-all model when it comes to children, food, and learning. Featured here is an outdoor play area that is located entirely on blacktop. We designed and built raised bed gardens around the Sand Play sensory box so that our children are now surrounded by a vibrant green garden with living fruits and vegetables that are produced every day while they play. The children recently harvested their cucumber crop and made homemade refrigerator pickles. They absolutely love the seed-to-table process, and best of all, they loved eating their homemade pickles. We practice the seed-to-table garden concept to help children make important healthy food connections. Children are part of every step in the creation of our gardens. They help to put in gardens, they plant the seed starts, they water and weed the gardens, and help all the way through harvest. Children help prepare garden fresh foods. Children are more likely to eat healthy foods as adults if they're exposed to healthy foods as children and taught about where their food comes from. This is a newly opened North Bay Children's Center classroom in Healdsburg, California. Gardens are critical to our mission, so we created an instant garden using old sand and water play tables. The children helped fill the tables with soil, then planted greens, tomato, and basil. The children recently harvested basil to help make fresh pesto. Gardens do not have to cost a lot of money. They can be built from the most simple of spaces using donated materials or found materials. Gardens can live inside or outside of classrooms, in home care settings, in pots, planters, garden beds, and garden boxes. Kids can cook. Children love to learn to use child-safe kitchen tools to help prepare foods from their gardens or local or regional farms. The children love to juice the extra harvest fruits and vegetables. Research shows that children are more willing to try and like new foods if they're actually directly involved in the process of food preparation. NBCC classroom meals are served family style, where children eat together. They learn to serve themselves and pass serving bowls of food to their friends. This essential social food sharing process is a sensory-rich experience, providing an abundance of time for food talk, helping children make important food connections. We help bring garden and food connections into the classroom by creating a food-positive learning environment to include thematic bulletin boards, visually appealing food and nutrition posters, child-created artifacts, manipulatives of wooden fruits and vegetables, and interesting food-related games and activities. There are many online resources available on the USDA Farm to School website to support healthy food messaging and food education in the classroom. It's important that children have a place and a space in each classroom where fresh foods are represented. We reinforce the school-to-home connection by displaying fresh foods on the parent sign-in table and include in the monthly newsletter recipes for food that are also prepared in our classroom. The Garden of Eden program helps build strong family food connections for our families and children. At select school sites, we provide a free family food share table, complete with fresh food displays and garden produce grown in our school gardens, sourced from local and regional farms and local food pantries. The family food share table also provides recipes and nutrition information to help build the farm-to-table food connection. How do we make this possible? Over the past 30 years, NBCC has built strong networks of partnerships and collaborations that help us sustain our mission. From our staff and families and our school partners, to community members, and public-private partnerships, we stand strong because of the amazing connections with people that believe in our mission. North Bay Children's Center attributes its success to the innovative collaborations and partnerships within our communities. The Garden of Eden Farm to School programs are thriving because of the ongoing dynamic partnerships, program, and procurement efforts. USDA and CACFP grants, resources, and training continue to be a very important partner in helping make NBCC programs successful. SNAP Ed, Harvest of the Month, Champions for Change, and the California Department of Health, along with local early education and child care support agencies, are all a part of our dynamic network of community health partners. We also work closely with our staff and families to help build a culture of health in each classroom. Together, we make agreements to adopt healthy practices that everyone uses in the home and classroom. All NBCC families sign a pledge to work together to be partners in health. Working as partners in health, we can support each other to make healthy environments and healthy choices for our children every day. These become woven into the daily fabric of the home and at school. NBCC's foundation is built on a diverse and robust partnerships. These include numerous local agencies, civic groups, community members, and business partners that work with NBCC in many different ways. These include everything from mini grants for garden projects, discounts on supplies, materials, and services, in-kind donations, and expertise and advice, as well as providing staff volunteer for work days. Our teachers build a healthy food curriculum by using the USDA CACFP Farm to School resources. These provide a wealth of education and support for healthy eating. We also use the Garden of Eden garden and curriculum in every classroom. The Garden of Eden curriculum is designed using 4 seasonal modules with weekly themed lessons that are built around the freshest seasonal produce growing in gardens or available locally or regionally. The weekly lessons are delivered using a train-the-trainer model with the Garden of Eaton nutrition educator trainers. They work side by side with our classroom staff to model and coach each lesson. The goal is to empower teachers to seamlessly implement the Garden of Eaton curriculum into the daily practices of their classrooms. The Garden of Eaton lessons include gardening, nutrition, cooking, fitness, and weave all subjects from art and sciences to math and literacy in engaged learning activities. NBCC's Garden of Eaton curriculum and programs were the subject of a recent research study conducted by UCSF to learn more about how children develop healthy eating habits. The study found that not only were children making healthier food choices at school as a result of the Garden of Eaton programs, but the children were influencing the parents' and siblings' food choices at home and while food shopping. Research shows that including children in the fresh food cycle, helping with menu planning, helping with food shopping, and food preparation, greatly increases their chances of making healthy, lifelong food choices. NBCC believes in the power of education. We offer comprehensive professional development plan to support the ongoing education and growth goals of our staff. To support healthy partnerships with our family, we provide mini education workshops for all of our families in NBCC classrooms on a variety of topics that include gardens, food, nutrition, cooking, and fitness. The NBCC team is dedicated to sourcing local fresh produce and healthy foods. First and foremost, to whatever degree possible, our goal is to have bountiful year-round teaching tasting gardens at every classroom site. The support of CACFP helps make this possible. With approved garden produce consumed in our classrooms and some related garden materials being reimbursable. The garden team searches for fresh and local regional foods from a wide variety of sources. We work closely with community garden programs, farm and farm stands, which many offer discounts to our school programs. Our food pantries also provide a large variety and selection of seasonal produce to our classrooms and families. This produce is often sourced locally from area farms or regionally. Many of our markets and stores are more than happy to offer us discounts on fresh seasonal produce. And we have recently just discovered gleaning groups that will go and pick the last of the harvests from local gardens, farms, orchards, and crops and deliver the produce for free to area schools and nonprofit organizations. Connecting to sources of local fresh foods is at the heart of the Garden of Eaton program because it is our mission to connect North Bay Children's Center children and families to the freshest and healthiest foods available. It has been such a pleasure connecting with everyone today to talk about gardens, healthy foods, children, and learning. Please take a moment to check out the array of resources available on the USDA Farm to School resources and education materials on their website. For more information on North Bay Children's Center, go to nbcc.net. I appreciate the opportunity to share the Garden of Eaton program with everyone today. Thank you to you all and best of luck. And finally, I would like to thank all of our corporate community agency partners, sponsors, and donors. And now I'll turn this over to Mimi.
Hi, everyone. Thank you again to Lissa and Teresa for your wonderful, wonderful presentations. And again, just a reminder that we'll have some time at the end to answer questions for all three of the presenters. So please feel free to keep entering questions at any time by typing them into the chat box. So, as you can see by the title of this slide, my portion of today's webinar will talk about some free food and nutrition education resources that you can view, download, and order from USDA's Teen Nutrition Initiative. So before we dive too deeply into the ins and outs of teen nutrition, we'd love to hear from you and see how many of you have heard of and/or are currently using teen nutrition materials. We will show a poll in a second where you can select which sentence best applies to you in terms of how familiar you are with teen nutrition. And this is for all teen nutrition resources, not just our gardening resources. So as you see on the screen, your choices are: I have never heard of teen nutrition. Thank you for your honesty. I have heard of teen nutrition, but I'm not really sure what they do. I have heard of teen nutrition, but I haven't really used their resources. Or I have heard of teen nutrition and have used their resources before. So go ahead and enter your selection on this slide here. Well, wonderful, wonderful. So it looks like we have a good range of people who have a variety of experience and familiarity with teen nutrition, and looks like the majority of you all have heard of us and have used us, so thank you. And for those of you who haven't heard of us before, thank you for joining us as well, and we hope that we can be a valuable source for you after this webinar. So, as many of you know, the USDA's Child Nutrition Program's Teen Nutrition Initiative supports USDA child nutrition programs by providing training and technical assistance to those who plan, prepare meals, providing programs such as the National School Lunch Program, or CACFP, with technical assistance resources that support healthy school and child care environments. And Teen Nutrition also develops nutrition education resources that help children learn about making healthy food choices, including those that focus on gardening and farming, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Many of you who are familiar with our resources may know of or may have used Teen Nutrition's Grow It, Try It, Like It Preschool Fun with Fruits and Vegetables kit. This is a free nutrition education resource for early care and education sites that features My Plate and is garden themed. It encourages children to try more fruits and vegetables and learn about My Plate's 5 food groups. Grow It, as we like to call it, contains 7 booklets packaged in a sturdy, beautifully designed box. There is a basics booklet that gives an overview of how to use all the materials, and the individual booklets are centered on a fruit or vegetable. So here on the screen, you see all 7 booklets. The basics book is on the very left, and then we have Crookneck Squash Row, Spinach Lane, Sweet Potato Hill, Cantaloupe Corner, Peach Tree Orchard, and the Strawberry Patch. Even though the booklets are numbered, you can use them in any order you want, and you may be able to substitute different fruits or vegetables depending on what is available locally or seasonally in your area. Each of the booklets starts with a table of contents, followed by a planning chart that gives suggestions on how to incorporate the activities in each booklet through the course of one 5-day week. Of course, you can adapt this planning chart to the needs and schedules of your site. Each unit also has words to grow, which are vocabulary words related to the activities that can help plant seeds of a varied vocabulary. Grow It also includes a variety of hands-on activities such as tasting, touching, or using other senses to explore the food, planting activities that focus on how the fruit or vegetable grows, activity connections that help grow great eaters by adding more tasting options throughout the day, whether as a standalone event or as part of snacks and mealtime, and Growing at Home, which helps teachers and providers communicate with parents about what their children did or learned throughout the day, and gives ideas of how these messages can also be echoed and reinforced at home. So here is an example of the planning chart that gives you some suggestions on how to incorporate the activities over the course of a 5-day week. You can see that each day includes several activities to choose from, So you can pick whichever ones are best suited for your classroom, your children, the needs of your program. You can also break up the activities over the course of a few weeks or a few months, however you want to do it. In terms of some of these activities, this screen shows one example in Grow It that involves getting kids active and learning by adding a twist to a well-known song. So here we are using the song Old MacDonald Had a Farm and giving it new lyrics. This time it's about crookneck squash. This version of the song talks about how crookneck squash grows on vines and also includes ideas of how kids can act out picking and carrying squash, in case you'd like to link this activity with some physical, with some movement. In addition to songs and movement, Grow It also ties in with early literacy by showing words to grow throughout each booklet, which calls out words that might be new to young children. There is also a list of easily accessible books and stories about gardening for children included within each book, as well as ideas on how to incorporate gardening, fruits and vegetables with arts and crafts. Each booklet also contains step-by-step instructions for taste testing the fruit and vegetable, as well as recipes for CACFP settings that include tips on how children can get involved with cooking. And of course, Grow It does provide different options for planting in each booklet, as well as in the basics book. You can choose to grow seedlings inside a clear Ziploc bag, create a container garden, garden outdoors, or a combination of all of these methods. Again, it's what works best for your site. The basic book gives in-depth instructions on all of these planting methods, and then each booklet provides more information and options on how to lead these planting activities with the children. You also, Grow It also includes tips on how to choose peak season for planting and harvesting, expected time for the fruit or vegetable to grow and ripen, and how to create an ideal environment. How do you get the right mix of sun, shade, soil, and water for everything to really flourish? Grow It also includes a Tasty Acres farm map that can be used as your class or group explores the different fruits and vegetables in this kit. So here on the screen, you see an example of how one provider, which is Willow Woods Learning Center in Youngstown, Ohio, displayed the Tasty Acres farm map at their child care. They use a projector to enlarge the map and trace it on a bulletin board. This allows the kids and families to see the progress made in Grow It as they go through the curriculum. Pictures and drawings were added to the map after each booklet was completed. Since Grow It was originally released, it has been used and loved by many CACFP centers and family child care homes. So currently, Team Nutrition is creating a new version of the kit, especially for family child care homes. Activities have been streamlined so that the provider has everything that he or she needs in one place. So the adaptations to this version of Grow It include tips for mixed ages, so tips on how you include children of all ages in the activities, new fruit and vegetable cards, updated parent resources, and new taste testing ballots. So here are examples of our new fruit and vegetable cards for the family child care version of Grow It. As you see on the screen, each fruit or vegetable in this Grow It deck is shown as how it's grown in nature. So you see a peach growing on a tree, and then it's also then shown as how it's commonly eaten, such as sliced and pitted peaches on a plate. Instructions for how to use these cards as part of a memory game are included, although of course you can be creative and adapt these cards to another activity as well. In the updated Grow It, we ask providers to engage families by using social media to let them know what their children are learning in the lessons. On the left, you see a sample lesson about My Plate that the provider can use with the children. Then, on the right is an example of a tweet that the provider can post afterwards if a child care has a Twitter account. Of course, these messages can also be used in newsletters, bulletin boards, Facebook posts, or other channels that you normally use to communicate with parents. Finally, I just wanted to quickly show you all the new taste testing scorecard that children can fill out after trying a new food, whether it's a fruit and vegetable from Grow It or for another taste testing activity that you might be conducting at your site. This scorecard has room to draw a picture as well, and teachers and parents can take this one step further and use these cards to track changes in preferences or willingness to try new foods over time. So another teen nutrition resource that has been very popular with young children is the Discover My Plate materials. These materials were originally designed for kindergarten classrooms, but many CACFP and early care and education sites have been able to adapt and use the materials with preschool-aged children. There are 6 lessons in this nutrition education series, and Lesson 4 of Discover My Plate is titled Planting the Seeds for Healthier Eating, and this can be easily adapted to your center, home, or classroom. One of the main activities in this lesson is focused at looking at how plants grow by having the class soak dried beans before sprouting and planting them, and asking the children to draw pictures to track the growth of the sprout every few days. These drawings can be stapled together to form a flip book or other art project. Discover My Plate also includes a student workbook with activity sheets that can be used to reinforce the key messages in each lesson. This screen shows 2 of the activity worksheets for this lesson that let children further explore how fruit and vegetables grow. These Discover My Plate materials and other gardening materials can be found on the Teen Nutrition Garden Resources page listed at the web address you see on the screen. We will also include this web address in the post-webinar email you will receive with your certificate in about a week or so. So as you can see, this web page shows Teen Nutrition's gardening resources for children as young as preschool age, so that's your 3 to 4-year-olds, as well as materials for older students, such as the Great Garden Detective for 3rd and 4th graders, and Dig In for your 5th and 6th graders. Materials include lesson plans and curricula, activities, posters, and more. Check out all of Teen Nutrition's materials at teennutrition.usda.gov. All of our materials are free, are available to download and view on our website, and are available for free to anyone who is interested. If you participate in a USDA-funded child nutrition program, such as the CACFP, our print materials are also free to order. If you would like to order our free materials, you can go to the resource order form link on the left part of the Teen Nutrition website. So it's that box circled in blue to order print copies of our materials. So now, thank you for your time and attention to that. And now we'll go ahead and take some questions. So the first question I have, and presenters, Lisa, Teresa, if you guys could remember to unmute your lines. So the first question I have is, when purchasing from a small farm, what documents should we ask for? Liability insurance, business license, anything else?
Hey, Mimi, I have this one.
Great.
So you'll want to the first thing to remember is just be flexible. Small farmers are often new to this child nutrition programs and have different levels of capacity. You'll want to make sure that you are in alignment with any federal, state, and local rules and regulations. USDA FNS does not require that child nutrition operators source from GAP certified farms when they are purchasing from the commercial market, although we do consider it a best practice. You'll want to see if producers have a food safety plan, practices equivalent to GAP, or any other food safety certifications. We are encouraging visiting the farm, and there are lots of resources, including food safety checklists, available for schools and farmers new to this subject. CACFP programs and farmers. You will want to see if your state or local government may require specific food safety requirements from farms and vendors serving child nutrition programs, and you can check in with your local agencies. You may want to check with producers as to whether they have a product liability insurance and how much. Schools, in any conversation with producers, you'll want to ask about types of products, quantities, harvest schedule, price points, delivery and distribution, packaging, communication and problem solving, and other expectations you or they may have. You'll likely need to define these expectations up front to ensure a good working relationship, and of course also check with your health and safety regulations. So be flexible. Again, the small farms just may not be as familiar yet, and you may have to grow with them and as they have different level capacities.
Great, Lisa, thank you. Thank you. That was a lot of really, really great information. And our next question is, can you explain how ECE centers can apply for USDA Farm to School grants? Is it only if they're embedded in K through 12 institutions?
Hey, Mimi, that's me again, and there's a few questions that we had about grants, and so I wanted to introduce my colleague, Juliana Arnett. She's our regional Farm to School lead, and she can explain a bit more about the grants.
Great. Our fiscal year 19 Farm to School grant is currently open until December 4th. So for those of you interested, I strongly encourage you to check it out. I know that there has been some questions on whether CACFP providers are eligible. Only school-based CACFP programs operated by a nonprofit are eligible to apply for a planning or implementation grant. We have 3 different tracks, though. So we have planning for those trying to figure out how to get their program started and want to create a pathway of success moving forward. We have an implementation grant for those that may already have a plan or want to get their hands dirty with the work of starting a farm to preschool program. But those are only eligible to school-based CACFP programs. However, we also have a 3rd grant track, as I mentioned, which is our training track. And this is eligible to, while it's not eligible to school districts to apply, state agencies, Indian tribal organizations, nonprofits, and producers can apply for this track, and they can focus on CACFP programs beyond school-based programs.
Great, great, thank you. Lisa, so I will connect with you all and get some of that information in writing, and then we'll send it out, just kind of the links and the high points, and then we can send it out to the group after the webinar.
Okay, they can also find it on our Farm to School website in the RFP section.
Perfect, great. Thank you. Okay, and then I believe this question is for Teresa. So Teresa, there's a question about the research that you spoke about around North Bay Children's Center. Has any of that research been published?
Yes, so I realized we included a link in this presentation, and it will be available once the presentation is archived. UCSF published a study in the Journal of Health that was probably about 2 years ago that they published their findings of the research study they did with us. But if everyone has a chance to go to our website, nbcc.net, we have a lot of other information available there as well.
Great, and I will definitely send that out in the post-webinar email as well. And we're almost running out of time, but I just had one more question for you, Teresa. So people love these pictures. They said they're awesome, and some are interested in sharing these pictures with other child care providers as an example of farm to garden or farm to school best practices. Would that be possible?
Absolutely. And please, if you have other things that you're interested in or other resources, please connect with me. All of my information, contact information, phone number, web address, email address is all available on our North Bay Children's Center website. Yes, we'd love to share all of the work we're doing
Wonderful. It's fabulous work. So I'm so glad to hear you say that. And again, in the post-webinar email, I'll definitely include that as well so people will have it in writing and in front of them. Of course. And so thank you all. Thank you to the audience. Thank you to my marvelous co-presenters for your great questions and participation. This is all the time we have today. But please do know that we read through all your questions and comments. And also, once this conference is over, there'll be a survey that pops up. You can enter in more comments and questions there. And we really do read it and take it to heart. So thank you all so much for spending your morning or afternoon with us. And have a great day. Thanks, everybody.
Oops, shoot, I was trying to answer the question, dang it.